Hi friends, Renee Keys here with Carolina Creative. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here with card making ideas for you. Today is August 1st, and in my theme of trying to keep cool, I'm doing a Christmas card. I can't call it Christmas in July, it's no longer July. So my thought was go back and let's use something from last year. So I've pulled out my Sentimental Wishes stamp set, and I still had some paper left over from this too. There was designer series paper. And so I really debated which side of this to use. You can see I've already done some cutting. So I went with the pretty trees. Just a nice little wintry scene. Can't say that it's real. It doesn't look real Christmassy, but it's very wintry, just the scene with the trees. And I'm kind of going with non-traditional Christmas colors to go with this paper. So I've got Lost Lagoon, and this is Lemon Lime Twist. And you will see that it goes beautifully with this paper. So I'm going to work with this. I'm also working with an old die. I'm just using up what I have on hand. This tree die came from Merriest Trees. And so I'm going to cut a tree out of the Lemon Lime Twist. I'm ready to do that here with my Stampin' Cutting and Embossing machine. So let me go ahead, camera split down. Let me go ahead and run this through. It's just my standard 2 plates here. Run this through the machine. And really, you could use any shape you like. Go look through your stash, see what you've got. If you have a wreath shape that you like, or a candy cane, or just whatever you like, put it with a piece of paper, a fun piece of designer series paper, and start crafting some Christmas cards. All right, so I've got the machine out of my way. I now have a tree shape right here, and this is the mat for my paper. So you're going to see how quickly this is going to go together. So I'm going to set this aside and do some stamping. I did pull out a slightly darker shade of ink to kind of pick up the darker here. So I pulled out Shaded Spruce. I really wanted to make this pop. So I'm going to stamp the Have a Very Merry Christmas onto the tree. And I need to do, in order to fit it, it doesn't fit toward the middle. It actually fits toward the bottom. As I looked at this when I pulled out the stamp. So I now have a Very Merry Christmas. On the inside, I'm going to stamp, here it is, Wishing You Joy and Happiness. So I'm going to put that across the top of my card here. And then to stay with my theme using this set, I'm going to use the holly and just put that spray down along the edge here. Get that inked up. And just, I could even color in the berries in red if I wanted to, but I think I'm going to leave it just monochromatic, and I will clean all those later. So that is my basic stamping. This is going to go inside the card. I do think this could use just a little color on the edges. So I'm going to take my sponge dauber and just, if you look at this paper, it does have some shading on those trees. So I'm kind of mimicking what I see on that paper. And I'm just putting color on the edges here and a little extra as if it's a shadow, just like these trees. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to set that dauber aside, and I am done with the ink, so I will close that up. Ink and a die. So my paper was cut at 3 by 4, which means the mat underneath it is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And you can see this just leaves me a nice edge all the way around. So I'm going to start assembling this. I'm going to put my insert, if I can pick it up, inside. Here we go with the glue, and I'm using liquid glue here. I like this for the inside. I can shift it around a little bit if I need to. Like if I decided I had it too far on one side, I could just give it a little nudge. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and adhere these 2 pieces together and then put the whole thing down. So liquid glue on here, line it up so I have it straight and I have even edges all the way around. And then I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal. I didn't want to feed here. Still doesn't want to feed. Let's get it started. There we go. We all know sometimes if you don't pull it up just right, it doesn't leave the sticky tape right on the edge, and then when you touch it down, there's nothing there. I'm not going to center this. I'm going to put it in the upper left, so I kind of have even edges on top and left. And then I'm thinking the tree goes down here. And I'm going to put I'm going to use dimensionals, which I already have out. Here's my dimensionals. I'm going to make this tree pop up off the card. So let's put some dimensionals on the sides coming up. I think I need one more in the middle here, and then one up toward the top. And I'm just going to use my thumb, put a little dent in there with my finger, and pull them up. My Take Your Pick tool works great at lifting those off too, but this was just a quicker way to do it. So I've got that on there. I pulled out a piece of old baker's twine. This is just a dark green. I honestly don't even know what color it is, but it went kind of with this theme of greens, because these are all in the family of green. They're just not all the exact same. And I'm just going to put that on there with a glue dot. So let me lift this behind the knot. And I'm just rolling it under there. If you've never rolled up a glue dot, you can kind of make them disappear. So I'm going to put that on there. And I think the next thing, and possibly last thing it needs, is just a little Wink of Stella. I want to give this tree some shimmer. So I'm just lightly going with the Wink of Stella. Not where I've stamped. I don't want to pull that green out. Well, I'm going to see if I hit a little bit where it was daubed on, that's okay. And then I'm going to give a couple of these trees some shimmer too. And that's really all I'm doing. There could be a couple rhinestones or something on there. I kind of like the simplicity of this. Let me flip my camera up. Just like it is. So it was a piece of designer paper, matted. I've coordinated my colors to go with the paper. Select a fun shape. It can be anything you have on hand that kind of coordinates with your paper. And then use a Christmas sentiment, another sentiment on the inside. I may add some Wink of Stella in there just to give that a little shimmer too, but look how quickly that came together. And now it's just a really unique card. Colors are a little non-traditional, like I said, but it's still a really lovely Christmas card. So if you like the products and the projects that you've seen here today, you can find me at Carolina Creative or hashtag Carolina Creative. I'm also on the Stampin' Up! Network. It's Renee Keese at StampinUp.net. Thanks for joining me today. Stay tuned for some more ideas. I appreciate you.